Okay, we have a lot to cover today, and I know people are still logging on, but we're going to go ahead and get started because one of the people who I asked to speak today needs to get to another meeting. So one of the things that I'd like to start doing in these town halls is just sharing and recognizing some of the projects that we're working on as a department. So Michael Omri is joining us today. He is with DFCM, and he has been spearheading and leading and managing this massive new prison project that we have going on that will be done in a couple of months. So I know Michael's got to run, so I just want to turn some time over to him just to give an update to our team about that project and where we're at.
Sure,
so Michael,
thanks, Jenny.
Go ahead.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
So first, you might notice I've got some damage to my nose here. I was chasing my little girl around the playground last night and playing tag, and I kind of leaped off a platform and didn't see a bar and kind of caught myself in the face. So I might look a little funny. A little update on this prison project or correctional facility. May 20th is the date we're shooting for a certificate of occupancy. We're tracking well. We have probably half a dozen or more items that we're tracking to maintain that date. Let me give you an update on those items. We're doing some IR scans. We've got to shut down power. We've got to infrared scan some panels. And then we also have to start up the cooling water facility. Obviously, that's a seasonal activity. We have to do some testing to the cooling side of the system, which we were not able to do because of the winter months. So we got to finish that up. Right now, we're training in the kitchen. We found multiple issues, pumps wired backwards and drains not working properly. So we're working through all those issues. The final security electronics testing on the site happens on May 9th. So that's a big step. Also, we have the final integrated systems testing on May 17th to make sure when we go to 2 generators and the power's cut, that everything is operating the way it should, security electronics maintain. And then we bring up back to utility power and test everything out again. So those are kind of some of the last items that we're tracking, but we're making great progress, and we're about 98% complete with only one building yet to have a TCO, a temporary certificate of occupancy for Merrilee.
Thanks, Mike. And I just want to share with the team, and if you want to add to this, feel free to do so. But this project number one has really been under a massive spotlight from the beginning. And so a lot of press coverage about this project. But one of the things I'm really impressed with is that this particular correctional facility is really reimagining how we build correctional facilities, and just the way that we use natural light and the way that individuals who are there interact with each other and with corrections officers, and I've heard quite a few people say that this is going to serve as a model for the rest of the country, the way that we're doing things. And I think that speaks so highly to what Mike and his team and those he's consulted with and worked with have taken on this project.
Thank you very much.
Well, I know you need to run, so thank you for sharing a few things.
Okay, thanks again. See y'all.
Thanks, Mike. So that project actually, as he said, is wrapping up soon, and the Department of Corrections has on their timeline that they'll have that facility live in July of this year. And so we're working very closely with the Department of Corrections on that. And then, of course, you probably have heard of the Point in the Mountain Land Use Authority that's now working to determine what's going to happen at that site along with Draper City. So lots of work there to do. Alan Fuller, are you on the phone by chance? Okay.
Yes, I am. I'm here.
Oh, good. Alan, okay. I don't know if you saw my chat, but another thing that I'd really like to spend just a few minutes talking about and updating our team is on the data center move. So this has been a project that DTS has been working with DFCM on as the state office building in Salt Lake is going to be demolished. That demolition will start in August of this year. And the data center is moving from Salt Lake to TSOB. This has been a tremendous effort by the DTS team and by the DFCM team do this. And I know that a lot of work has really been done in a short period of time. There's still a lot of work left to do. And I'm just so impressed and amazed at how well this team has done to stay on track and get this done in really short and condensed timelines. So just thought I would give a few minutes to you to share an update on that data center move.
Yeah, thank you so much. So glad to do that. So first of all, this is a project where we worked very closely with DFCM on the build out of the new data center here. And let me just give a quick context for what the project, why we're doing the project. So if you go up to the Capitol facility, on the Capitol Quad, on the north side, there is a state office building that looks like it was built by the Russians in the 70s. That was, many of us lived there for years. The legislature passed a statute, or not a statute, passed the thing. They're going to tear that down, build a museum. DFCM has a big project there. But maybe some people are not aware that in the north end of that building, kind of on the first floor, but adjacent to it, built into the hill, there's a windowless building. That's our main data center for the state. So that's where the network is. Thousands of servers, voice, firewalls are all in that data center facility. And it's getting torn down starting in August of this year. And so the data center has to move. And it's not, moving a data center is not like, back up the truck, pick up the fridge, unplug the fridge, move the fridge. It's a lot more complicated than that when you're talking about complex enterprise applications, things like Medicaid running on a mainframe, or any of the other 1,600 plus applications that we support in the state on thousands of physical servers. So we refer to this project not as a data center move, but as the data center exit. And our strategy is to try to move as much as we can from the physical on-premise data center into the cloud. And we're not able to move everything. So there will be move from old data center to the new data center. And the new data center is here in the Taylorsville State Office building. And there will also be a significant amount of applications and things moving to the cloud. So we're moving network, we're moving voice, we're moving applications. There's a tremendous amount of equipment involved. Involves an upgrade to a lot of that equipment. For example, we're upgrading our network to try to have better capacity, better network speeds, and this is all on target to be completed by June 1st. And it's led by Dan Fry and Dan Harmuth with a big assist from Mark Schultz. And here on those are the people on the DTS side really leading the effort. And there are several big milestones that were passed. We've pretty much moved most of the dev and tests in test environments. We're now moving production environments, and we have a mainframe move coming up. We have we just completed a big firewall migration, and I was super proud of our network team for the way that went. In my career in technology, I have seen those firewall moves not go well, and they tend to create problems all over the place, but moving 23 firewalls as smoothly as it happened was a piece of work that was really well done. And I congratulate the team on that. One of the next big milestones coming up is we have to move the internet. So right now, if you log into the internet from anywhere, you're going through the state office building up at Capitol Hill. And after May 21st, those internet connections will be going through the Taylorsville State Office building. So those are some of the big things coming up. I'll ask Dan, or if someone hasn't already done it, we have a website where you can see the progress across all of the agencies, including our agency and Department of GovOps. And you can see how many servers are moved, how many are still to go. You can get some details on the project. We'll post that link in the chat here for anybody who's interested.
Thank you, Alan. And again, just a huge thank you to the teams that are working on it. I hear all the time it's such a heavy lift, and it's in addition to everything else that's going on, and it's just impressive how this is progressing. So thank you all. Okay, next thing we're going to talk about, I'm going to turn some time over to Chris Hughes. We mentioned this in a previous town hall, this idea of implementing a mentorship program. And this came from feedback that we received from employees within government operations, that employees would like opportunities to learn some additional skills and to interact with others within their division or even across divisions. And so Chris has been working with the team on developing this program and is ready to announce it and share those details.
Yep. So this does come from feedback that we heard from employees wanting to be able to communicate and break down some of the silos that we've seen in the past. And so what we've worked on is a mentorship program that is intended to help employees come together, pair up a mentor and a mentee so that they can communicate and talk. The mentor and mentee will come from different divisions. You do not need to be a manager to be a mentor, and if you're a manager, you can still be a mentee. What we're looking for is to be able to pair people together that want to learn from other people and learn how other divisions work within the department. So what we will be doing over the next week is uploading the application onto the intranet, where you can log in and sign in or sign up if you want to participate as either a mentor and a mentee. And we will also be providing a guidebook that will be included to kind of outline the expectations of what the mentor-mentee relationship will look like. I'm just gonna pull it up for myself to read, because I do want to talk about some of the key points of what is actually intended in this. It's primarily intended to help break down the silos. It's also intended to develop relationships within the divisions, within the Department of Government Operations, and to give employees the opportunity to learn from each other. And hopefully it increases the ability to provide support to management and help people understand new skills in their own employment. But this will be posted on the intranet hopefully later this week, and from there we'll be good to go. Any questions on it? Well, great. I like not having questions.
Thank you, Chris. Another update that we wanted to give, in a previous town hall, we spoke a little bit about a new process for employees to share ideas for improvements, and how those would be vetted and how we would communicate back to the department as well on the ideas that we've received and the direction that we're heading. And so Marilee is going to give an update there. Marilee, if you maybe just give a brief refresher if there was anyone who missed the last town hall as to what this program is, and then share some of the information or feedback we've received already.
You bet. So in each division website and on the intranet, there is a link in the footer, submit an idea, where if you have an idea, particularly around process improvement in your area, you can submit that idea. You'll be asked to fill out a questionnaire, and that questionnaire is designed to have your input on some of the questions that we would be asking about your question or your idea. Like, how are we going to fund it? What kind of resources are needed? What would be the impact? Doesn't mean that you have to have absolute answers to all of those questions, but we want to partner with you in that thinking process. As you submit your ideas, they will go to a committee, and that committee will invite you to come present on your idea. They'll ask you questions. You can give more information around the context behind your idea and thoughts. And then they will provide a recommendation. If the idea is vetted enough, it will move on to EDO. That committee may ask you to go back and get some more information or clarify some things. And then we would continue to go through that process. The committee may also send it back to the division to involve the division director and get their input. And feedback on the ideas. Interesting thing that happened, that committee met, I believe, for the first time. And there were some ideas that had been submitted. All of those ideas will be listed on the intranet, probably within a week of the time that that committee meets, so that you know what ideas have been submitted. And if you want to give some feedback, you can give feedback as well on those ideas. But the interesting thing that happened when this committee met a couple of days ago is that someone brought forward a policy question. And I personally found that pretty interesting. And I think that that is a great vehicle. If you've got questions about policies, or if you've got other kinds of feedback, I think the person came before the committee, they had their position well thought out, presented it, and that committee voted to send it forward, and we'll have a policy committee look at that. So I just want to tell you, I appreciate everybody who has participated. It's the folks doing the work that has the very best insight on how we can do things better, and things that we haven't even considered or thought of. That is where the best ideas come forward. So this is not a scary process. We love hearing what you're saying. We fully vet out all of the ideas and consider everything that's being said. And that feedback loop will occur on that intranet. And we'll tell you every step of the way what's happening and what the thought process is behind those ideas. Happy birthday, Jenny.
Thank you. Any questions on that idea portal or that process? All right. Okay. Then just moving on, a couple of things I just wanted to make you aware of, things that are coming. It's been, we've received some really great and valuable feedback over the last few weeks on how we can improve our communication efforts with our team and what employees are looking for. And I had a bit of an aha moment, and it was a little embarrassing for me too, to realize I've really stumbled and failed in this particular avenue. And that is communicating with our team as to what projects as government operations we're working on. So we spend a lot of time communicating with the governor's office as to what we as a department are doing and where we're at. And we have a quarterly report that we send, and we use that, we pull together the information from monthly reports that each of the divisions send up to the executive director's office. And so we spend a lot of time making sure that the governor's informed of where we're at, but we really haven't done a great job of informing our team members here within government operations as to where we are as a department. So a few of the things that we're going to do, first is we're going to be working on a Domo dashboard to start a project management process within government operations. So Chris is working with DTS and Domo to build that database. And then after that's completely built out, and it's going to align with how the governor is using Domo as well. Just for those who don't know, the governor's office uses Domo as well to track the One Utah roadmap and all of the milestones that they're trying to meet as they are looking to achieve the goals of the Cox-Henderson administration. So we're going to set up a similar database. And once that's done, we'll be meeting with each of the division leadership to determine what projects should we put in there and what are the milestones for each of those projects, so that we have a way of having some additional oversight and insight into how we as a department are fulfilling the expectations that the governor's office and that the legislature have for us, and that our customers have for us as well. So as part of that, once we get that up and going, and I don't have a date yet, as soon as I do, we'll share that with you. One of the things that we want to do is make sure that we have just a dashboard that we can put on our intranet that shows anybody within government operations the projects that we're working on in every division, and it will show the progress that we're making. Some of the feedback that we've received recently is just this feeling that we're all working really hard and we all have a lot of objectives that we're trying to meet, but there's just not a lot of insight into how we're doing and what the governor's office is being told. So I apologize for that for looking that on my side, and we will do better about making sure that we're communicating with employees. So I'm excited about that dashboard. I think it will give a lot of insight to anyone who's interested in seeing not just what their team is working on or their division's working on, but where we're at as a whole. and how, what our vision and our big projects are for the department as a whole. And in addition, we'll start doing more of what we did today, which is just providing some time in each of our town halls for the teams within government operations to share some insight and some information on big projects that we're working on, especially the ones that are, as I mentioned today, under a spotlight or under they're impacting multiple agencies. So that's one thing that we're going to work on. Another is I had an interaction with an employee recently, and they asked me, you know, what does success look like for government operations? What is the vision? What are you wanting from us? And so I spent some time working on a vision document that shares the vision that I have for government operations and some of the direction that I'd like to see us go to. And it's really aligning with the expectations that that Governor Cox has for us, and also some of the information and the expectations that we set with the legislature as we consolidated and became this new department. So I am going to be meeting with all of the division directors over the next couple of weeks to go over that document and just make sure we're all on the same page and answer any questions that they have. And once I complete all of those meetings, I will be sending that document out to everybody within government operations. So you can see the communication that I've had with each of our division leaders, and that you all feel like you understand what the direction of government operations is and what we're trying to accomplish, and what those goals and visions and values are. So I should have those meetings wrapped up in the second week of May, and as soon as that's done, then we'll make sure that that gets out to the whole team so everybody here has an opportunity to review them. And then lastly, I would just say, if you have suggestions for us on how we can better communicate with employees, or if you have things that you would like us to be sharing, I really encourage you to send either me or Marilee an email. Marilee chairs our communications subcommittee. One of the things I really want to do a better job of is oftentimes we have ideas of what we should be doing and sometimes forget to ask the people who we work for or that we should be communicating with what works for you. What is the information that you want, or what communication avenues work best for you? So if you have ideas or thoughts or feedback on how we as a leadership team can be communicating better with our department as a whole, I encourage you to share that feedback with us. We're, as Marilee said, we're really receptive and open to any of that feedback, and looking for multiple ways to engage with our employees. We recognize we have a team of about 1,300 people. Some people are in the office, some people are working remotely. We have some people who are out in agencies. We have employees that don't have access, that don't have a computer as part of their job responsibilities. And so there's not going to be one mechanism that works for everyone. So suggestions and ideas that you have on how we can reach a broader audience and get that message across our whole department is very valuable, and we would appreciate it. Let's see. Next thing on my list, Michelle Brown wanted me to talk about the lunch and learn that's happening today. Michelle, are you on the line?
I am. Hi.
Do you want to share some information there?
Yeah, today at 12 o'clock, we will be getting to hear from the Department of Natural Resources, and they are going to be discussing water conservation. Shelby Erickson is part of their water conservation team, and she'll be kind of giving us an overview of some of the different incentive programs available, some best practices. This lunch and learn, as the past ones, will be recorded. So if you do have some prior engagements and you can't make it, don't worry. We will post the recording on the intranet. It'll just be on the GovOps Challenge page along with the other videos. But I really hope you can make it. So far, we've had, quite a few folks be able to make it, and the Q&A portions are just really interesting, and I've learned a lot myself. So I hope you guys can make it. It's just a half hour, so from 12 to 12:30 today, and I can send out another reminder email right now, Jenny, if that would be helpful to folks.
That would be great. Thank you, Michelle.
You bet.
Okay, the last thing on my list before we get to questions was just a reminder to take the Pulse survey. Marilee, do you want to just remind everyone about that?
Yes, I would like to tell you that once again, I have learned that karma never plays out in my favor. I send out an email inviting all 1,300 employees to send Jenny an email wishing her a happy birthday. And I chuckled to myself, ha 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 ha. When I did that, as part of that email, I sent you a link to remind you to take the Pulse survey, and that link doesn't work. And so it, in fact, was my email that blew up. And so I appreciate everyone who read that email. I sent out a new working link. Please take those Pulse surveys. We're going to do a better job of communicating how we are using those, but we are using those. So your feedback, it matters. Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. It matters. And I know that it feels like only 2 surveys. I appreciated an email from an employee after I sent that out yesterday saying these questions don't feel like they're really in depth. And so I wanted to take just a few seconds and explain how we use those. So these questions are divided up into different areas that attach to one of the seat values. And they cover a myriad of areas, culture, are you getting opportunities to learn? What's your relationship with your supervisors? What's your experience with processes? Are we offering up the right services? So there's a myriad, but all of the questions attach in some way to one of the seat values. And so those questions are categorized, and we will ask those questions over a period of time. And then in about 6 months, you will begin to see repeats of some of those questions. So that's going to give us feedback back as to whether, number one, we're improving against the specific question, and number two, how we're doing overall in the seat category. With every question that you answer, we begin to strategize as to how we can be responsive to what you've said about that category. And so when I say we're going to do better about communicating how we're using those, we're going to be on the intranet, employee.govops.utah.gov. We'll begin to build out that communication so that you can see how we are doing in each of the seat categories, how we are doing on a per question basis, and what that data is that we're getting back. So you're seeing the very same information that we're seeing in order to make decisions on. So take the survey.
And it's 2 questions, right? So it's super fast.
Yep.
Okay. Thanks, Mary Lee. Sorry, Chris, just let me know we have one more thing on the agenda. He wanted to talk about the Great Shakeout.
Yep, I did want to just mention briefly that we did have the Great Utah Shakeout, I think it's called, today at 10 a.m. So hopefully everybody practiced getting under their desks at 10 a.m. or practice at least using the call tree that your divisions may have in the events of emergencies. I did want everybody to know that we are looking into emergency planning within the department and looking at how we, as the Department of Government Operations, can work as 9 divisions in an emergency. I am scheduling phone calls with all of the COOP coordinators and emergency planners for each division. We are working on ways that we can hopefully make the COOP plan a lot easier for the normal day-to-day employee to be able to understand and read and understand what the expectations are for each employee. But again, I wanted to stress the importance of the call tree, given that we are a teleworking department and that most of us do work from home. That call tree is important for all of us to be able to know who to communicate and when to communicate with them during an emergency, so that we can keep track of how our employees are doing during an emergency, and we can keep track of the services that we will be providing in an emergency. So if you haven't texted your supervisor already to let them know that you're okay, please do so now. If you want to IM Jenny and wish her a happy birthday and let her know that you're okay, please do that right now as well. She's feeling pretty lonely that she's not getting enough IM or Google Chats today on her birthday. But please do reach out to your supervisors. Mary Lee, let me know. Let's see, I'm purchasing has checked in, they're all good. Fleet has checked in, DFCM has checked in, and others have checked in as well. to report that the call trees have worked on a division level. So just going back, we appreciate what you've done today. And, just to let you know, please expect more when it comes to emergency planning from the executive director's office and from your COOP coordinators.
Chris, will you tell people what COOP means for those who don't know what that acronym stands for?
It's because I asked you, everyone to Google chat you, right?
No, I'm feeling very loved on my birthday today. I've received lots of very kind messages.
Yeah, let me pull it up exactly what it means, because as soon as you said that, I realized I don't know what it means.
Continuation of
the contin-
operations.
Yes,
There you go, John.
continuity of operations plan. There we go, fully on with the COOP. So thank you, John. That's one of the things that I do need to learn as well, is what the acronyms mean. I got an acronym wrong in a meeting today with Jenny and Marilee, and Marilee was very excited to call me out on it.
We do need a dictionary of acronyms. Sometimes I feel like. Okay, that was everything on the agenda. So let's jump into questions. If you do have questions, please feel free to throw those into the chat. There were a couple that came through the intranet that I just want to make sure that we address. One of the questions was, prior to the merge or the consolidation, there were some rumblings or talk about a potential pay increase to incentivize workers who are able to work remotely to move to rural Utah. And did anything ever come from that? So that was prior to the consolidation of government operations. There was one of the former departments was having a conversation about that. We did look at that as we were looking at consolidating our policies, and didn't really see a strong business case. It wasn't a pay increase. It was a one-time incentive award for employees to move to rural Utah. We didn't really see a strong business case for that. So we have not implemented that policy and don't have any plans to implement that policy within government operations. Another question that came through said, at one of the previous town hall meetings, someone brought up community service or volunteer hours. And do we as government operations have a policy in place that allows employees to take a certain amount of time off to volunteer within our local community? And that's a great question. I know that the governor's office this year offered up paid time off for all employees to specifically to volunteer in schools during the pandemic, where they had quite a few teachers who were out. And so that came from the governor's office. I just checking in with HR real quick. We don't have a policy within government operations for that. I believe DHRM probably did in the past as well. So that's not something we have right now, but it is something that I'm happy to send over to our policy committee and have them start to look at and review. I know that's that type of effort, that volunteer work, is something that the governor's very passionate about. And so it feels like it aligns well with his vision. So we'll get that over to the policy committee to look at for government operations. But just to clarify, for now, the only one that I'm aware of that exists is the statewide one to go work in a school for a period of time. And then the last one that came through was, can it be set up so that state employees get a discounted or free access to state parks? That's a great question, and I don't know the answer to that, but I will write that one down and reach out to DNR or others who might have more information there to see if there has been a program like that, or if that has been discussed. I don't know the answer to that one. So I'll keep that one on the list so I don't forget to acknowledge it in our next town hall when I have some more answers on that.
Jenny, no pressure, but fourth graders get that.
I know, that's actually a nationwide program. All fourth graders across the country get a free national parks pass for the year, because that's the year that they're learning, I think, US history. I think that's the reason. Anyway, yes, so we'll look into it. I think that's a great program, so I'll find out. Okay, so questions that are coming through. Josh, I agree. I was a fourth grader at one point too, and I didn't get that. So I feel like I should get that benefit retroactively, right? It should come through now. Let's see, has DHRM had the chance to analyze the approval or targeted salary increases with a plan to share the results with staff? So John Barron is out of the office today. I don't know if there's anyone else from HR who's on the call that would have the answer to that. But the targeted increases were really, they're called out to specific positions in the governor's budget. I can't remember what page it's on. If somebody from EDO, if you have the budget with you and can remind me what for government operations, what page that is, that would be great if you can throw it in the chat there. But as part of the governor's budget, DHRM worked very closely with DOPB and the governor to identify which positions would receive this targeted increase for all agencies in the state. So in the governor's budget, there is a specific call out just for government operations on which positions qualify for that targeted increase. So if your question is which positions are eligible, then I would refer you to the governor's budget. But I don't know if there's more to it than that. As far as how we're going to implement it in government operations, we haven't had those discussions as of yet. I know that John's been working with division directors to answer some of those questions. So I will make sure that we get a follow-up with John Barrett on that one for you. But again, if you're wondering which positions are eligible for the targeted increase, that is called out in the governor's budget. Oh, Tara, thank you. She says page 99. And that the governor's budget is online, and someone else posted that link as well, it looks like. Oh, good. Oh, it's on the intranet, it looks like as well. Okay. So a few resources for you to go look at the ones specifically for government operations are posted in the chat there. Oh, thank you, Jean. Okay, Jean says that DHRM is working with agency leadership to determine how they want to distribute that targeted funding. So we'll have some more information coming there as well. Next question, DHRM question. If we are designated to telecommute, do we need to take annual if our power or internet goes out? I don't know the answer to that question. Jean, do you know the answer to that question? Okay, she's going to research that one. I have not had that one come up yet.
I can tell you in the past that has been an agency policy decision. And so that is likely something that we'll need to send to the policy committee.
Okay, I'm going to write that one down so I don't forget. All right, those are the only ones I'm seeing so far, unless I missed anything in the chat. No other questions? Oh, someone says, when my power went out for the day, my director referred me to a state office or library as an alternate. Okay, sounds like that's something that we need to what Marilee said, refer it to the policy committee, so that way we have just a consistent policy across the board for the whole department. Any other questions? Okay, I'm not seeing anything else come through. If you do have questions, feel free to continue to use the intranet to send them through. You're always welcome to send them directly to us if it's something that can't wait a month. And of course, you're always, we encourage you also to reach out to your supervisors or your division directors if it's applicable to your specific division. Thank you so much for being here today, and we will chat again next month. See you all.